So I got interested in the student farm when I heard about it in my sustainable living class 2 springs ago. It was Sustainable Living with John Gerber, and students from the student farm came in to present about the student farm as a class, and I thought it was so cool that UMass actually has a student farm that's a class, and it's also like work experience. Like, it combines so many things in one. I was on the committee where we went and talked to different student businesses and asked what would they like from us, or if they would want to buy any vegetables from us. And as someone who also works at EarthFoods, that was really integrative and really great to be on both sides of that chain and be the person who orders the produce and also the person who grows it and harvests it and delivers it. As a co-manager at EarthFoods, I have learned so much about collective decision making and like how to work with other people to reach a common goal. And I'm really thankful to have that experience to bring to the student farm, because we didn't necessarily have the time to think about those things. We didn't have time to educate ourselves about collective decision making because we were running a farm. We're growing food 8 miles away and then bringing it to campus and cooking it and serving it to students that day. We're making a system that in our country is so drawn out and so like latent with all of these externalities, a really short chain that involves students at both ends. We've been trying to gain more awareness on campus and do a lot of things to get our name out there and to show UMass that we matter and that we're really educating students on campus. Actually formally learning about cooperatives was great because I saw so many examples of cooperatives that has succeeded, and I learned so much more about how to actually start one and how like it's possible within our economy, which sometimes it seems impossible. I can do everything I want if I do it cooperatively with a group of friends who also want to do those things. And it's been a great realization, and I have a lot of friends who are interested in a lot of the same things that I am, and they are really interested in learning from me what I've learned about cooperatives, and it's really great to be able to share that knowledge with them.
I knew nothing about student businesses, I knew nothing about collectives, cooperatives, none of that. But just from reading the application and how thorough the questions were and how much they were asking of who I was as a person, and also asking me to relate to myself and like the greater society, to me it was everything that I was about. And I think that was the biggest thing, was having my work be something that wasn't just like, you know, I clock in, I clock out. It was something I was really invested in, not just to put on my resume, but because I really cared about the people standing next to me, and I felt like I was a part of something bigger than myself. It's about what can we give to the community, how can we connect to the community, and how can it be a reciprocal process? Because we consider ourselves to be members of the community. And so how do we take food and what people may know about the food industry or may not know about the food industry and sort of educate one another? We want people to want to know where their food is coming from. And we want to make sure that we're trying to balance making decisions based on, you know, we want to make sure that we sustain ourselves, but we also want to try and cut those things that, you know, we don't need palm oil. Like, yeah, it sucks. Palm oil's in a lot of things that are delicious, but palm oil also is this evil enterprise that hurts a lot of people. This is not just a regular part-time job. Like, this is like a lifestyle. I like the fact that it's my home, like it's my safe space and it's my community. But people still are a little confused about how that actually works. They still think that there must be a hierarchy. Like, they still think like, oh, so which one of you is like the manager? And we're like, we're all managers. UMass as being a like really progressive and innovative and sustainable university, because that's what the world is trying to do. They're trying to become more sustainable. They're trying to challenge the way things have been done before. And that's exactly what collectives and cooperatives are doing, and that's exactly what the student businesses have been doing in terms of people's market since 1973. We've been doing it and showing that it works. And so the university should be really promoting this aspect and be like, we've had this, these are our students, like our students can do this. And this is my UMass experience. Like, this is it. Like, I was actually saying, I wanted my robe, I wanted like little, you know, those things they put around you, or like a little tassel. I want a student business tassel.
We try to make it pretty transparent that we're a cooperative, and we like to tell our customers about like all aspects of our business and include them in a lot of things that are going on. It really increases the sense of responsibility that I have and the sense of ownership of EarthFoods as a whole. If I don't do something, then it just falls on my co-managers, and that can be really motivating, but it can also be like kind of stressful. 23 co-managers, it can be pretty tricky sometimes, but I think that having a consensus system sort of gives us more motivation for discussion and dialogue, and instead of just having like a majority rule or no say at all. So we really get to like talk over problems and work through them and make sure that everyone is comfortable with the decisions that we're making. We've started partnering with the student farm a little bit more closely lately, getting all of our kale so far. Yeah, it's awesome, and we're also getting a lot more vegetables from them. We're also supporting like other earthlings and our customers who work at the student farm. I think it's important to provide like healthy alternatives to the DC food. I think that a lot of people don't know about cooperatives because it isn't really the mainstream, and they sort of assume that everything is kind of run the same way with hierarchy and bosses, and we get some people who come in and need to talk to us or ask us something for some reason, and they'll ask like, can like I talk to your manager, like your boss or something? And it's just like, well, we're all co-managers, like you can ask any of us. I think that a lot of people have like this weird connotation with EarthFoods or the student union even, and they just like don't really come in here and don't come by, and I tell people about it and they're just like, whoa, like I didn't know that I could get good food in like the student union. So I'd say just like talking about it, telling your friends, bringing your friends. I believe in cooperation and respecting everyone and the people that you work with and the people that you buy food from and the people you get your food from. And a large part of working in a cooperative is having respect for your co-managers, and even if we don't always agree on decisions that we're making or something, we all have a mutual respect for each other because we're all in this together.
Because co-ops have been around for a really long time, but they've been underneath the radar. And you know, the first wave of co-ops started in the 30s. There's a few of those left, and then the next wave started like in the 70s. And now there's this new wave that just started in the last really 4 or 5 years. We're one of the first ones in this new wave to open. And there's hundreds of them that are working on opening. And it isn't really being talked about that much. But we have like people upset with the status quo, with corporations, with Wall Street. And the answer is co-ops. Well, it started with conversations. People had conversations about how wouldn't it be great to have a food co-op? How wouldn't it be great to have a store that sold local food that the community controlled? And they really wanted to have a store that like was owned by consumers, that put the biggest umbrella over like the whole values about food and who we're serving. It brings people together, and it makes us work together to get what they want. We do buy from a number of co-ops. PVGA is one of the ones that's local here, but because they're a co-op, they work with a lot of growers and are able to bring that all together, and so it's easier for the individual farmers to get their product to market. I love the people, I love the food, and I love the idea that the people came together to make the store. We have over like 1,200 customers a day. We have over 5,000 of them that are owners of the co-op, and then we have about 335 local vendors that we work with, and we're cranking out probably close to $3 million in local foods every year, and we've only been open for 4 years. So you can do it as a private business, but if you do it with a lot of other people, it just puts a lot more power behind it. To have all of the people behind it is what makes it work. So it's not a corporation that's owned by someone that just wants to make money, and it's got the power of the whole community. So it's not just like one person or a few people trying to make something work. We've got thousands of people trying to make it work.